everybody. It's another Zoomer Times TV presentation, and I have this good-looking guy, Anthony Kulp, who's he's not a typical real estate broker. Actually, one thing about Anthony, if you're not familiar with this, there really is a certification to be a senior realtor. Someone, see, what do they call it, Anthony? It's a certain certification.
Senior real estate specialist.
Okay, let's see. I see this here, senior real estate specialist. And of course, I think your whole nature, in a sense, would give seniors special treatment because that's just the kind of guy you are. But apparently there are a lot of things that you learned in that course. Can you share that for a minute? Because I know you want to talk about something else that's really important, consumers in real estate, but just take a second and tell people what that kind of course entailed that made it so special for you.
Well, dealing with senior citizens is very different than dealing with somebody who may have children or is moving because of work or something like that. Typically, when you're dealing with a senior citizen, they're downsizing, maybe to a smaller home, a condominium, or into a senior care facility. So, and as you get older, it gets harder and harder to move, especially when it comes to getting rid of your personal items. Some items you might have had for over 50 years and are very hard to part with. Also, senior citizens don't, they're not going to have to move to get the kids in school. They're not going to have to move to get a new job. So they're not as big a hurry to move. And it could take from the first time I meet with somebody who may be downsizing to the time they actually list their house, 6 or 8 months could go by. Also, senior citizens may think about listing their home for a year before they even contact me. So they think about it for a year, they contact me, and then it could take another 6 or 8 months till it's actually listed. It's enough pressure as it is without a builder having to put more pressure on them to, move along. You just have to be patient.
Okay, but then there are other things that that you've learned, I guess, there about kinds of things that they expect and they don't know and that they can't be tricked into, because that happens too. People come in and they maybe begin by offering them a lot more money, and then before you know it, okay, now we can't sell it for that, so you'll have to take this, right? And they've already signed up with them.
Right. I found out about a sale that had happened, and the property sold in 24 hours. They had 5 contracts. And another realtor had told me about it, and I said, well, what did they list it for? And I'm very familiar with the community. And when he told me the listing price, I said, no wonder why they had 5 contracts in 24 hours. And I'm sure that the property was undersold. And I don't know if the person was a senior citizen in the community. There are a lot of senior citizens. So I think whether that agent did it purposely or accidentally, but they really undersold that person's house. And, your house, you should not get 5 contracts in 24 hours. You should have, if you're selling your house and it's priced right, you're going to get a contract, an acceptable contract within 10 days, but you should not get 5 in 24 hours.
Okay, so I do understand what you said. So that's why you have to go to someone that's responsible. Anthony has been selling real estate for many, many years. And if a lot of people, we couldn't do testimonials for him because it with him, always want to deal with him, and that's because he is smart, but he's kind and he's patient, as you were saying. Okay, you talk something that's going on, because I started off saying, how's real estate doing? Why don't you tell us?
Well, this following 2021 and 2022, we don't know what's going to happen. I think that the first-time home buyer market is going to slow down. But on the other hand, I think people who are buying second homes is going to pick up because they've been sitting around, they're saving money every month because they're not traveling, they're not spending money. My father and his wife have saved a lot of money because they're not going to the casino, they're not traveling. So other people who are able to put some money away could be, this may be the time for them to go out and buy a second home.
Mhm.
So this is all going to balance out with first-time home buyers. It's for a first-time home buyer, it's very hard to get a loan if you haven't worked for 2 years consecutively.
Ah,
So anybody who's been out of work because of the virus may not qualify for a mortgage, or they're going to have to pay a higher interest rate or put more money down. So a lot of people have gone through their savings, that they would have used to purchase a home. So it's, it's going to be a wait and see kind of thing. I do think interest rates will stay low.
well, the other question though I have about this is what, when someone comes in with a second home, they equate how long they're going to stay there. Now, what typically do they come in for a month, 2 weeks? Do they stay 6 months? What typically does a second home buyer do?
Well, you have one, you have a second home buyer where it's going to be a future primary. So they may use it for 5 or 6 years, and then they're going to move there and live there year round. Then you have a second home buyer who it's going to be they're going to become snowbirds, and they could be here anywhere from 3 to 6 to 8 months. Typically, snowbirds become they're good buyers for me because they may come for 3 months, then it gets extended to 5 months. Next thing you know, it's 7 months, and then they say, well, we're down here more than we are up north. We might as well sell our house up north. And then they call me and say, well, we need a bigger place here because this is going to become our primary residence now. So they're always good buyers to stay in touch with. And then when you have overseas buyers or people don't live in the country, they're limited to how long they can stay here. So, South Americans may stay 3 months to 6 months, depending on what their visa is as well. So. And then you have people that are still working, but they have a lot of vacation time. So they'll come down for a week or two, they'll go back for a month, and they'll come. That's what I used to do for years. I used to come down for a week or so, go back for a month, come back for a week or so. And I did that.
Oh, really?
I was able to work from home.
Right. Well, when you think about it, though, I know people, though, who now they live here longer, but they keep their place up north for the summer. That's where they go.
Right. But, eventually it's a lot. I had 2 homes for 15 years, and whatever home you were at, you were worried about the other one. And it was always the case. As soon as you would get to the other one, you get a call and somebody, oh, your window broke or a tree branch fell down. And it was, and once I sold and I was down to 1 home, I said, oh, I'll never own 2 homes again.
That's very clever. And you know what someone said? For what I pay for my home, even coming down here, I can rent, just get like now with the Airbnbs or with some of these other things, and just pay it and forget it. I don't need to own something and be responsible and all that.
Well, there are people who rent all year, but they only come mostly in the wintertime. And then they may come for a week in the summer or in the spring or in the fall, and then they'll go back, and then they'll come after New Year's and stay for 3 or 4 months. But they rent for the whole year, which is cheaper. In the long run, it's cheaper.
Oh, really? Oh, well, also, there are condominium rules that you can only rent once a year, right? So that's right. So it pays for someone to make the rent a little cheaper, so someone could be there. But then you have to furnish it, of course.
Right. Well, typically, whatever say a condominium, for instance, if a condominium rents for $1,400 a month and you're renting it for a week, it's $1,400 a week. So if you're staying for a certain period of time, if you're staying for 3 months, you might as well rent it for the whole year. And then you could have friends go and use it or, however it works for you.
Okay, so that's my other question. It's one thing to rent it. The condominium says, okay, you can only rent it once. And you may just not stay there 3 months, but people can come in and out. It just, you can't re-rent right?
Right. They can leave a car here. Once I left the car here, I owned my house, my condominium here, and I was going back and forth. And after 3 years, I bought a car and left it here. It was the best thing I ever did. For some reason, not having to rent a car, I would, I'd sit around on a Wednesday and say, I think I'm going to go to Florida for a week. And I'd be on a plane on Thursday and I would come down for a week, and I would take a cab to my house, and I had the car all week, and it was great. It was
Yeah,
it was very,
yeah,
very, very
yeah.
easy.
And I think when you're taking customers out, you probably share these stories depending what their questions and problems are. Oh, I don't want to buy it because of this, this, this. Then you say, well, what about this, 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 right? So you're experiencing all that. Tell everybody again, my wonderful guest is Anthony Michael Kulp, and he is a senior real estate specialist. Write this number down if you want to buy or sell real estate or you want to rent. Call him at 954-815-9048. That's 954-815-9048. He says, buy smart, sell smart, and live well. And he specializes in Palm Air, which is a beautiful, beautiful, huge community there in Broward County off Power Line and is it
Atlantic.
Atlantic? Oh, I don't know why I thought that. Oh, so it's Atlantic. And do I have that mixed up?
No, it's south. It's southwest of the intersection of Power Line Road and Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great location. And do we know anything more about going across at the aisle?
Well, I saw them pulling some some trailers
Oh,
in
really?
the other day. So, the virus has put everything off. They were supposed to start in the spring, so it's probably pushed it back. Maybe 6 or 8 months. Now with
Mm-hmm.
the vaccine, construction's been going on. Workers have been working all through this. I mean, construction starts are way up. In other parts of the country, northern Florida, but in southern Florida, we don't have a lot of places to build anymore.
Okay, but so Anthony, go back to if someone's interested, they've been very careful, they wear their mask. How do you show them real estate?
Well, if you're going into a condominium building, you have to wear a mask. The entrance of most buildings, they have sanitizer stations where you can use hand sanitizer, and you're just careful on what you touch.
And they arrive in their own car?
Right. We don't ride in the same car. Um, it's the new normal, and it's habitual now. And you don't even think about it. When you see a hand sanitizer, you go over and you sanitize your hands. And whenever you go inside, when we stand outside of a property and we talk
Mhm.
about it, we're all standing 6 or 8 feet apart.
So they go into someone's home, and usually there's no one in the home anyway, right? That's usually vacant. Please, it's better for someone not, because they make an appointment with you. It's
Mhm.
better that the owners aren't there anyway.
Right. And we
A
ask
lot
the
of owners want to be there, but it's not a good idea.
yeah, we ask the owners
Do you
turn
tell
on the
them that?
air, open the shades, open the closet doors. So there's less interaction. If somebody's really nervous, we tell them
Right.
what we touch. If we
Well,
any,
it is a new world for everybody to try to sell real estate. It's um, and the other thing that's really kind of funny is people aren't flying down; they're driving down
right,
because and so that's another whole story. Parking is always a big hassle too, and we have never discussed that. But at in some condominiums, they only get one parking space, and I know where you are. There's not underground parking, is it on the outside?
no, no, it's all in the parking lot. And
Oh, really? Yeah.
some buildings have very good guest parking, and others don't. If the building is
True.
older, they didn't require as many guest spaces as they do for newer buildings. So, if you come home late on, say a Thursday night, and there's a lot of full-time residents there, you may not have a parking.
I know that. So what happens? You have to, where do you go?
You
The
either
building
park
or
off the
something.
street and put a note on your car, or some people, if they see
Not a lot of on-street parking, on-street
if
parking.
they see a guest spot in another building in the same association, they may pull in there and put a note on their window. So, but you have to take that into consideration when you're buying.
That's right. And I'm sure so if someone has two spaces that they bought, they were lucky when they first opened. That's a premium apartment, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yes. Some buildings, if it comes with two spaces, you can sell one of the spaces if you want to. But if it's
Yeah,
been
at my condo, they rent spaces. An extra space, they rent them.
right, well,
Yeah, I
people
think we
live
had,
here
what?
year round, and if there's a lot of snowbirds in the building, then they'll, have an agreement with the snowbird and park in their space until the snowbird comes
Oh,
back in.
right. Yeah, see, so that was really a good thing. At our place, I rent this condo, and we first came, we had two cars, but my husband did have a disabled sticker. So he was able to park in another place that didn't require that.
Right.
So
I have a funny story about handicap stickers and condominiums. So I sold a condominium, it was a co-op actually, to somebody who had a mobile scooter. And he said to them, now this was a 55 plus community, and he said, I need a handicap spot. And they said to him, everyone in this building needs a handicap spot.
yeah,
So,
that's right. It is amazing, this whole handicap thing. I don't know. So many people, maybe they had a knee operation and they had it and now they don't want to give it up and their doctor cooperates. But I guess because of my being a gerontologist, I know that that's not right to do that. There are people who really need it and you're taking up a space. It's not fair because, like, if someone really needed it, came in at night.
right. But on the other hand, I used to really judge people about parking in handicapped spaces. And one of the things the doctor said to me once, he said, you may see them get out of the car and they look okay, but they're only able to walk 10 or 15 minutes before they're in pain or that's all they're able to walk. But when I pull up to the gym and go to the gym and somebody pulls up in a big truck with a handicap sticker on and jumps out and goes in the gym, I'm like,
Yeah,
what is this? And my mother was handicapped.
I know.
And every time I see that, I think how many times she may
Yeah,
have pulled in somewhere and wasn't able to park
I
in
do
a
too.
space because of somebody like that.
But I hesitate to say anything to them. You never know they'll hit you over the head or something.
Yeah.
So, but it's not right, and it does happen. In fact, it is funny. I drove with a family member, a cousin, and we were looking for a parking space. She says, "Don't worry about it. I've got one. You have one?" I said, "I don't want to use your park. I don't want to use that. You're not disabled." She said, "Well, I still have." I said, "No, I don't want to use it." She didn't like me for that. Isn't that funny?
Well, I deal with senior citizens, and some of them don't walk well. So what I do is I drop them at the entrance. I'll go and
Right.
park, and it's also faster for me. If
Sure.
they park and have to walk all the way across the parking lot, and then we come out all the way across the parking lot, I'm going to fall behind on the schedule that I have to show them other condominiums.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well, they're disabled, right, but they are disabled, so
right.
that's only fair. This is Anthony. My guest is Anthony Michael Kulp, and his phone number is 954-815-9048. Now, we just talk about where he is and where he specializes, but let's really talk about he can be anywhere. He's special. He can find you someplace in Broward, even in Palm Beach County, or if you have someplace to sell, or he can refer someone. If it's you call him at 954-815-9048, and he'll answer the phone and he'll help you. He'll give you advice. You can either let him list your home, or find you a home to buy, or rent you a home, or just ask his advice. I'm sure a lot of people call you, and sometimes it has nothing to do with real estate, but maybe they just knew you and they wanted advice on something that they were doing because you're
Yeah.
smart and you're nice,
Yeah.
and that'll get you in trouble.
Some people may not have sold a home in 50 years. They don't even know where to start, you know.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
So, yeah, I get phone calls all the time just asking questions, tax questions, a problem they're having with their association, you know.
Right. Problems with the association. Oh my. I'm sure a lot of yeah, you've really specialized in that. I don't know what it is that people become these condo board members, and and they forget what the golden rule is. They just want a little power, and they're not very nice. And there's some people, when I was in real estate in Boca, sometimes everything was perfect, and when they went to the board meeting, they decided they didn't want to buy there.
Yeah.
It was so mean.
I find management companies and associations, I think they discriminate. I think they do it on purpose.
Right.
And it's hard to go against them because it's very difficult to take them to the state and to prove it. And buyers don't have the time to do it. Sellers don't want to do it. They don't have the time to do it. So
Exactly.
and they discriminate by raising the percentage
Yep.
down to 20%. And one of the
Then
things
you have a dog. What? I'm sorry.
how they discriminate is they'll say in the condominium documents, if you purchase a property, you have to put 20% down at the time of contract signing. Well, why would the association care about that? They don't get any of that money.
So
why would they make this rule? Well, the reason they do
So
it is
why?
they want to keep first-time home buyers out. So
I
yeah.
see.
Other associations will say you have to have a 720 credit score because they think anybody that's 720 or less could default on their mortgage. And it's been 14 years, 10, 14 years since the housing crisis. And they're holding new buyers responsible for that. The other thing that one association does, they make you put up a whole year's worth.
And can they get away with that?
Sure. I mean, there's nobody up at the Capitol fighting for buyers and sellers. I spoke to one politician and she said, oh, there's nothing I can do. Well, sure, there's something you can do. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? There's ways, you might not be able to say to an association, you have to lower the percentage you put down, but you can go to the state and say, well, I don't think we should give them any kind of funding or assistance if they're making people put 20% down.
Yeah, I see. And you've been very good at that, dealing with associations. I know that we had a long discussion about dogs, pets.
Yeah. So, but that's gotten better. The state, when it comes to housing, it's gotten better. When it comes to airlines, it's gotten much worse. But
I know. Now, why is that? I saw that airlines now are being very strict, aren't they?
Well, they abused it. People abused it. When somebody gets on with a pit bull and he bites the guy's face next to him, which is a true story. It really happened.
Really?
So, oh yeah. If you have an emotional support animal, once you leave your home and you go into the public, it's supposed to act like a service animal. So, and most people don't know that. They'll sit in a restaurant and hold the dog and feed it at the table. You're not allowed to do that. The dog's supposed to be under the table. We had the one article that we wrote in ZOOMERTIMES and News that
Right.
it gave the pros and cons. It let restaurant owners know what rights that they had. Because I don't think you should be able to walk into a restaurant and somebody has their dog and the dog is barking at you and pulling on the leash and, so.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But you have a dog
And
now.
I just like to say, I have a dog in an association where I have an emotional support animal letter. And when I have a stressed out day and I come home and I lay down and that dog jumps up next to me and I pet him, I calm right down.
I agree. I'm the same way. So that's what they really are. But yeah, the airlines have gotten tough on this, but they've had a lot of problems lately too with this whole thing with some of the people not wearing masks. And, especially you read right after that Capitol fiasco and what terrible thing happened. Some of those people were traveling back home and they were arrogant and they wouldn't wear their mask. They were taken off the plane.
The amazing thing is you can be taken off a plane and arrested right away, but you can storm the Capitol with plastic handcuffs and just be charged with trespassing. I mean, this is crazy.
It's horrible. Yes, I know. It's really a horrible thing. And I just, I'm feeling really sad about being as motivated as I usually am every day. I have to stop watching the news.
That's right. Stop watching the news.
I know. It's very, very sad about all this. But I guess what I'm hoping now, we have a new president coming in and hopefully things are going to get better. Do you think that then everything calms down, and hopefully it will, the housing market will get better? Do you think people are holding back, or they're?
Well, I moved down to Delaware, and Joe Biden in Delaware is a saint. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody loves him,
I
whether
love them too.
Republican. He's actually a pretty conservative Democrat. His whole career, he's always reached across the aisle and worked well
Good.
with both parties. He's filling his cabinet with some of the most experienced people in politics, and
Right.
I think it's not going to happen right after the inauguration, but I think within a year, 2 years, things are going to get much better. I think the media is going to
Yeah.
calm down a little bit and not continue to, exacerbate lies just for ratings or to
Of
sell
course.
items.
Yeah.
So I think
Well,
things will get better. They can't get any worse.
yeah. I think they will get better, won't they? Have more confidence and stuff. Won't. People have been really scared. There have been some people I know they don't mean it. They're going to move to another country because they were so upset. But
Well,
listen,
Democrats said that when Bush was
I
reelected,
remember.
and I think it was 120,000 people moved from the Northwest moved to Canada, but within a year
Really?
they all moved back.
I didn't know that. Oh, well. Well, I just want everyone to be safe, and it's funny how Florida really now, with the weather up north with the cold, and Florida is like paradise. It really is. It's a wonderful place, and the I don't think the prices are that much higher than in some other places, other cities. Do you? For what people get down here with no taxes and all that?
Well, when you add in, our average or median price range, and again, it all depends where you are in Florida. But let's talk
Yeah.
about Southeast Florida. Our average and median price range is very high. One of the reasons is we have a lot of million plus homes here, but our taxes are pretty high and our insurance is very high. What I paid, I owned $1 million commercial building in Delaware. I think I was paying about $3,000 a year insurance. I own a duplex in a community, in a condo community, and I'm paying over that just for that, and I only have to insure the inside. So when you add all that together, and typically where you have a place where there's high
I
taxes,
see. So higher taxes and higher
yeah,
insurance.
high taxes, high insurance means lower prices, lower home
Hmm.
prices. But that's not how it
Hmm.
works in South Florida.
Right. Well, Anthony, Anthony, you're
Here's
smart.
some good news, some good
You're
humanity.
really
Jeff
did all this.
Jeff Bezos just said he's going to give $2 billion for affordable housing.
Oh, I am so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
There's so many people, who really, and affordable housing is not, not like bad housing. It's just easier. There, people affordable could be $100,000, 150. I mean, because as you said, everything is just too expensive
Well,
for a typical family or one person, a single person.
affordable housing could also be housing where you can buy with no money down. It doesn't have
Really?
to be inexpensive. Sure, it doesn't have to be inexpensive housing. It could be housing that people can get into because they don't have the 20% to put down, but
I
they
see.
qualify for a mortgage, for 100% mortgage for the property. And you have to get people. I own rental properties, and the worst thing for me to say, but you have to get people out of renting properties and get them into houses.
Uh-huh.
Home ownership is, that's retirement money.
Right.
That's money that is generational.
Uh-huh.
When you pass and you own a piece of property, you leave that property to your kids. Your kids may use that to put their kids through college or,
Right.
and so on and so forth. It may help you pay your house off. So when you retire or you pass, then you have money to leave your kids. So it's intergenerational money.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah.
That is very important.
Well, that's
But the first-time home buyer really has no experience, and the banks and mortgage companies really aren't interested, are they?
Well, they are. They're realizing that, the minorities are a big market. There's money to be made there. So now they're going to say, oh, we can sell houses to minorities. Oh, let's lend them money. Now they're realizing it. And that's been the problem with minorities for over 100 years or more. They never had the opportunity to buy homes and have that intergenerational wealth to go from generation to generation.
Good.
And that's changing.
Yeah, well, hopefully everything's going to be looking better. By the time we talk next month, we'll have a lot of very good things to say, I'm sure. So this is Anthony Michael Kulp. Call him at 954-815-9048. And remember, he's a senior real estate specialist. That's what we specialize in. Boomer Times. We want, our seniors and boomers to get the best we can. So we try to find them the very best people to help. Thanks so much, Anthony. I appreciate your coming on. And next month, we're both going to be happier, I think. Okay.
Thank you. And I want to say hello to Wolfgang, who watches the videos all the time on YouTube.
Oh, really?
I just
We have a lot of people, right, that watch. I get all sorts of comments. So thanks, Wolfgang. That's Wolfgang Puck in California, right?
I wish.
Thanks so much, Anthony. Talk to you again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.